we're going to be introducing some explosive barbell movements and complexes. Now, the important thing to remember with these movements are that the focal point is always good trunk contraction and your hip on, always. Are we able to maintain this movement as we explode the barbell up? And also eventually, are we able to maintain this structure as we receive the barbell a little bit lower down? Initially, we're going to start with the muscle version of the lift. All that means is you're going to be dipping and receiving the bar, whether it is in the clean position in the front rack or overhead in the snatch. You'll also notice that we do speak of a high hang version, a hang version, low hang version below the knees, and then obviously from the floor. We're going to be starting at the top, making the movement more simple. And then over time, we are just going to make the movement slightly harder, and the goal is good movement, not heavy movement. If it's a movement you're familiar with, certainly load up where you feel comfortable. But if it's new, I would suggest stay with the high hang version until you feel comfortable, and also stay with the muscle snatch or the muscle clean, as opposed to the power versions that we'll eventually do. A couple of points to focus on when we are performing the movement. The intent really with what we want to achieve here is to have the barbell in the hip crease, and you're almost throwing the barbell up but in a straight line. So we want to ensure that the trajectory of the barbell goes through our feet overhead. Same thing if we are catching the clean, okay, in the front rack position. Eventually, as we go down to the hang or the low hang versions, again, it is about getting the barbell in that hip crease before we snatch. Okay. High hang version, we want to try and keep that trunk upright as you dip down and then throw. Whereas the hang version, there is a slight bend forward, and as you start progressing with the barbell below the knee as a starting point, you're going to be bending forward, and then the moment the barbell passes your knees, the barbell and your hips are going to travel together. Now, to maintain that as we come up, that's where the improved proprioceptive qualities, movement and awareness comes from, which is our intent with this. It's definitely not a case where we just grip and rip. That's not exactly going to contribute to, better movement on the mat or outside of the gym. Okay, so just to reiterate, clean, even, same thing. You're going to be finding it later in the hip crease. I personally find I've got long Neanderthal arms that I do need a slight bend in the arms, but I'm not using my biceps, not even bending. You can have a slightly wider grip if you need, but I'm using my entire structure and back mechanism, pulling mechanism I want to call it, to keep that barbell in place as I clean. So have fun trying the new movement and stay light. Empty barbell if you need, and you can even start with the broomstick. Okay, that's way better than going too heavy too soon and not quite know what you're doing. Have fun.